Hi, I'm Mark Rothman, Progress Coach, and in this video I want to talk about grief. We are living through one of the most difficult times in the last 100 or 150 years. And we've all experienced loss. We've given up our way of life, our ability to go to the mall and see movies and live in a predictable world where today is pretty much what tomorrow is going to look like as well. We've given up the clarity of the safety of just living in a world that was predictable and reliable. Now when we have to make decisions like, do we eat in a restaurant outside? Do we wear our mask when we go jogging? Is it safe to go to the grocery store and stand in line behind other people? We miss that clarity of just living our lives, and instead we feel like any decision we make is the wrong decision. And then of course there are those of us who tragically have lost their income, their livelihood, the sense of mission and purpose that work and a job gives us. They've lost that. And of course we have to acknowledge how many of us have lost loved ones as well. All of us are feeling grief during this time at varying levels. The challenge is to acknowledge that grief and to let it in. I think too often our human reaction is to just stuff the grief and ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. And I have some experience with that. I've seen it firsthand. My mother was 17 when her father died of cancer. And she buried him and did what she needed to do religiously. We're Jewish, and she followed those rituals. And then she went right back to college and returned to the life she was living as if nothing had happened. And that grief stayed with her for the rest of her life. She had a very complicated and difficult and painful life. She struggled with alcoholism and shoplifting, a dysfunctional marriage, and a fundamentally miserable sense of her own value that was tragic and, of course, profoundly unfair to the beautiful woman that she was. That's what happened with her grief. Now, I'm not saying that if we don't allow our grief at not being able to go to the grocery store or having confusion about when to wear a mask or when is it safe to be with other people is going to create a dysfunctional future that we'll never emerge from. But I am saying that it will have a price. And it will have a price on a larger scale as well, because we need to acknowledge when we have the number of deaths in this country and in this world that we've had, our community is in grief. Our country is in grief. Our city, our state, our world is in grief. And that grief ricochets like billiard balls or hits each other like dominoes falling. And it's there under the surface of the society we're living in, and it's going to be part of the society that emerges out of this COVID nightmare. And if we don't let it in now, if we don't start accepting that it's part of it, we are going to try and ignore it and push it away. And who knows what that will lead to. Grief is hard. Grief is not something we can go through alone. Reach out to people around you. Admit your own grief and touch base with them, and what are they feeling? What are they missing? Are they grieving? What have they lost? And if it's someone close to them, you can help them through that. And you can also gain strength from them in helping you face and really own and be comfortable with your own grief. Rather than hide it away, grief is what we want to talk about right now. That's one of the ways that we're going to carry through this experience. Stronger, actually, and better and more connected to each other.